Alright, check this out. One of Ukraine's most legendary boxers just called Joe Rogan out for his relentless peddling of Russian propaganda and even challenged him to an intellectual debate because Joe Rogan's monkey brain apparently can't differentiate between straight up Russian propaganda on X and actual reality. So, I want to debunk what Joe Rogan has been saying, but I also want to show you how this Ukrainian boxer went off on him, and I don't think Joe Rogan will really engage or respond. Now, a few years back, Joe Rogan would have anybody on his show, people from all across the aisle, and he still does do that. He invited Kamala Harris on, but he never really gets challenged by real experts in fields where he veers off of the mainstream opinion. So with vaccines, for example, I don't think Joe Rogan would actually debate a vaccine expert. He just brings on his lunatic friends, and the same thing with Russia. So I want to play this clip for you, but first, I want to explain how the chaos within the Trump cabinet is starting to trickle down among the MAGA world. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and this WAPO article that just released says, "Sharp elbows and raised voices inside Trump's bumpy transition. His freewheeling team has returned to the patterns of his first term in office, with shouting matches, expulsions from meetings, and name-calling just following Daddy Trump, I guess, and at the same time, Trump's transition team refuses to sign the official transition documents which have ethical guidelines and say that you have to show who is funding your transition. So we don't know who is funding Donald Trump's transition. The usual ethical guidelines that are put in place are not there. I don't want to speculate, but it's probably an Elon Musk or Peter Thiel type billionaire trying to fund this transition and have ultimate power over the admin. Donald Trump's attorney and advisor, Boris Epstein, arrived recently for a meeting about cabinet picks in the tea room at Mar-a-Lago, only to find his way blocked. Transition co-chair Howard Lutnick, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, told Epstein in front of others this was not a meeting for him. "We're not talking about legal nominees today," Lutnick said, according to one person familiar with the exchange. And you know, Epstein is the same person that Elon Musk reportedly blew up on about a week or so back. So man, Epstein cannot get a break, and he deserves it. He deserves all of it. He was one of the people that spearheaded the fake elector scheme. Epstein refused to budge. Using his forearm, he pushed Lutnick out of the way, according to two people familiar with the incident, which Lutnick later recounted to others. Quote, "I'm coming in," Epstein reported, according to one of the people. What an unfortunate last name. Unfortunate last name. A third person described the incident more as Epstein simply brushing past Lutnick on his way into the meeting, and someone close to the men said the two have been working closely together, but two people said that it was quite the run-in. In any other presidential transition, such a showdown and physical confrontation between two top advisors to the president-elect would be a show-stopping breakdown in decorum. But in Trump's freewheeling orbit, the incident was soon forgotten. And honestly, these people don't even feel the need to engage with reality anymore because the right-wing media ecosystem has created such a monopoly that whether they're going on X or watching Fox News, they just see this information. I'm not going to play this full clip, but let me play about 5 seconds of what Joe Rogan said yesterday. I debunked it in an entire video yesterday. Go check that out.
It's the whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. Fuck you, man. Fuck you people.
Okay, so Joe Rogan repeatedly said F you to Zelensky, and here's what's happening from a broader point of view. Vladimir Putin has very successfully infiltrated the media in America and gotten people like Joe Rogan to be pawns for him. And what Vladimir Putin does is he tries to have a monopoly on this escalatory rhetoric. He's the only one that can say, we're going to escalate, we're going to nuke you, we're going to invade further. He's the one that can use threats because when he uses these shallow, vague, vacuous threats, it scares the dumbest Americans. Vladimir Putin is not going to nuke the West. He's not going to nuke Ukraine. That would be mutually assured destruction. And Vladimir Putin is not going to do all this crazy escalatory stuff that he pretends to do. That is what authoritarians do. You guys know the phrase, do not obey in advance. What Joe Rogan is doing right now is literally obeying in advance. He's saying, hey, dude, we know that Vladimir Putin's crazy. Just give him what he wants. Just obey him. Obey him. And this is what a legendary Ukrainian wrestler, Vladimir Klitschko, said.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending this video to let you know that I disagree. You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble. So they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians. So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
Amazing message. Not only very well said, but I really like his attitude. He's giving Joe Rogan the benefit of the doubt, even if Rogan doesn't deserve it, but that is how you reach out to people and change their minds. You have good faith conversations, and I think liberals need to stop purity testing so much. When I was on Blue Sky the other day, Mark Cuban made a post. Mark Cuban, who's a huge liberal for sure, he supported Kamala and even was a surrogate for her. He said that, hey, Trump supporters shouldn't be kicked off Blue Sky immediately. We want to migrate them off of Twitter because if we can get them off the brainwashing app, we can fix the brainwashing problem. Then we can get Twitter to die, and at least we can have different conversations over on Blue Sky. And some people in the comments were calling Mark Cuban a Nazi sympathizer, saying he's sympathizing with the MAGA Nazis. And I'm like, you guys need to back up for a second, slow down. I understand that we're all mad, but we can't just completely lock ourselves over in this separate area. That is how we got into this situation in the first place. I mean, Trump did very narrowly win the popular vote, so just writing off all of these Americans, that's a losing mindset, guys. That is a losing electoral mindset. I will tell you right now, if you're writing off every Trump supporter, you're not made for electoral politics. You can't write off 70-something Americans and say they're never going to vote for us again. It's not how it works, especially when many of them are like young people. Hall of Fame Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko shared a video on his X account accusing the podcaster and UFC commentator Joe Rogan of spreading Russian propaganda during his recent rant accusing US and Ukrainian leaders of trying to start World War III. Joe Rogan really went on a rant. Rogan recently criticized President Joe Biden for authorizing the Ukrainian military to use American-supplied long-range missiles, but again, Joe Rogan has no idea. He has no understanding of anything at play. He's literally just regurgitating the last right-wing headline that he read, and he doesn't even read the headlines. I do want to finish off by reading this article, because this is really important and actually damaging to our country. This reads, "Here's how badly Trump's extreme transgender ban would damage the military. The next commander-in-chief is set to bring back one of his most radical policies. Donald Trump's plan to ban transgender people from the military would have a devastating effect. At least 15,000 members would be forced to leave, and that is no small number in the scale of the military. Military charities, such as the Modern Military Association of America, warn the ban would hurt every single branch of the armed forces at a time when they are already struggling to recruit. Sources told The Telegraph that, quote, people will be forced out at a time when the military can't recruit enough people. Only the Marine Corps is hitting its numbers for recruitment, and some people who will be affected are in very senior positions." Now, Trump banned transgender people from the military during his first term, but the ban was lifted by President Biden after his inauguration, and around 2,200 service members were diagnosed with gender dysphoria at that time. It is a very real diagnosis, gender dysphoria. President-elect nominee Pete Hegseth has attacked the military as suffering from the long-term infection of the radical left-wing social justice policies. You know, I have a feeling that Donald Trump and the people around him are really going to misread the slight popular vote victory as some sort of mandate, as they are, and really overstep their boundaries. When you have Pete Hegseth and you have Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk and RFK Jr. all guiding the policy for Donald Trump, they will inevitably overstep their boundaries and they will blow up some conspiracy theory way too big. Just wait. Over the next 3 years, we're going to see Elon Musk try to say something that he thinks is funny on Twitter in real life, and then most normal Americans are going to be like, wait a minute, I didn't realize Elon Musk has lost it so much. But either way, I'll leave you with that. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.